Good afternoon, everybody. Ace of Trades here. Had some issues with my videos today. I had an audio issue. I think I started like three different videos today, and I either hit the stop recording button by accident instead of pause, or later on I had an audio issue, so I restarted my computer. But um, it's probably just going to be a uh, kind of just a quick summary video of the price action today because uh, we got about 15 minutes till the close right now. Right now we're in this big downtrend. I was looking for something right here, and it didn't materialize. This move up finished on this ugly green bar, and then went down here, um, and then we pushed from this side of the trend line to this side. And I don't just want to short the first red bar here that we got, but that's all it took, and it just kept pushing down, and this lower high is too far down and really ugly on the bottom with this all this stem. Right now I'm thinking, with as strong as this move is down, I'm right now just looking at this move up here. I'm looking at this as a break for this big downtrend that started in the early afternoon. I guess you wouldn't realize it till maybe down in here, but it started up here 1 o'clock. So I'm still thinking, you know, short. I'm not looking to take a short way up here. So you have this trend line, but definitely looking for, um, we always say that most often what trends do after they break is they will look for a new extreme. That's the most common thing. And I don't really see, with as big as this trend is, I don't there's this looks pretty valid. It took a while to figure out because you're not going to see it at first, and I'll kind of go over that. But I didn't really put together that I mean, it doesn't look like there's a wide trend here until about here. Um, and once we started coming up again off this area, um, then I was okay with kind of drawing something wider here. And even if it's not exactly wider, we clearly have downward momentum now. Any breaks and retests of trends are unable to reverse higher very far through the EMA. So this whole move down, I figured, would probably in itself also look for a new low, which it does. It just doesn't provide a setup. And then again, by the time we hit here and bounce, then I'm very certain that this is a wider trend. Um, had some odd activity down here. This never made it to the low again, and then went sideways a little bit and popped up out of there. You never know. This could just start running up here into the close. There's not much time left to even look for a break, but I don't think I'd be looking for a long yet, because I'd still be expecting this. Sometimes you can get fooled with when you get super big trends that, this trend is like 60, 25, this trend is over 50 points long. And so sometimes the retests, I'm sorry, sometimes the breaks of really big trends can look like, um, they're just prices just reversing. And right now, this is not even to a 50% retracement, although it does look pretty strong here to the upside. And again, we're running out of time for um, uh, taking any trades. And what you might get is, this trend here. Maybe this trend breaks and makes a new high before, this big downtrend then tries for a new low. So we'll see. This keeps pushing higher, keeps pushing higher. So maybe at this point, if we got a couple legs of correction, uh, I may I might look for a long if it sets up really nice, because you definitely have um, a nice uptrend here. And so, um, it may be that this may want to, in itself, if it breaks with enough time, retest before attempting to push down. So I'll stop here and I'll just kind of quickly go over everything, the rest of the price action for the day. Didn't have any trades for today either so far. There's always a couple areas where you're looking for something, but sometimes things don't set up. Um, so I'll point that stuff out, and I'll point out some areas where it in a vacuum it may look good to take a certain trade, but um, given the overall context, it's not a good idea. So we'll talk about that. Okay, everybody. Market's closed now. I didn't get anything else today. I should say I didn't get anything today. I wasn't at the desk when this printed, so I didn't have an opportunity to get into that. Um, so I'll just kind of try to quickly go over what I saw as I was describing in the videos. So when I sat down, I want to put my overnight high here, overnight low here. Saw this downtrend, so I had that drawn. This here, if you notice, time down below, it goes from 6:51 to 8 o'clock. So for some reason, the chart crashed here for an hour, and so you've got an hour's worth of price action in that bar there. So I'm not exactly sure how this would have set up, how this would have been drawn if I had that additional price action. But that looked like, maybe it was thinner, maybe it was like this, okay, and then you had a break here and a new low. I don't know. It looks to me like that fits pretty good. So, when you get this set up here, um, off of this uptrend, this like corrective uptrend also has a break and a new high, and then comes down, you would be expecting, if you believe this is valid, you would be expecting that price is going to try to make a new low for this downtrend. Especially since you're still looking for price to come back down to the overnight lows. So it doesn't. There's enough room there for some points, but it doesn't actually make it. It kind of goes into its range. I said I didn't like that as a fade of this range because you don't have room to the highs of the range, and we know that previous resistance will often turn into support. So you would be concerned about prices hitting that and bouncing off it. You always want we fade ranges. We don't buy the breakouts. Okay, we don't buy the breakouts of ranges because usually price will try to fade back into the range. Um, but we also, when we're fading the prices into the range, we also want room to where the support resistance line is, and we don't have it there. So it does need bounce and continue going higher. It gets a little messy. I don't see anything in here that I would like. And then once price starts doing this, okay, can't come down and test this, but starts pushing higher, I drew this line, I pasted this here, just as a target to keep an eye on for a measured move. All right, and so prices are pushing up here. Now, on this move up, this whole move up is the retest for this leg up. So once prices are broken out here like this, there's no longs on the table for me, because you would expect that this overnight range will attempt to get faded, meaning price will try to come back down into the range. This uptrend has made a new high, and now certainly once you get this break and new high itself, okay, so now this uptrend, even though it may not make a new high, it does, and it's into this measured move. So I'm certainly not thinking long anymore, because I would be expecting price to fade down into the overnight range, or at least attempt to reverse. Um, so it doesn't. It forms this two legs here. I don't like this for the reasons I've already stated about looking for prices to fade down. So what ends up happening is we go into the green range. I had that drawn earlier on, as you see prices kind of working its way in there. I don't see this is so stacked up, so many overlapping bars, I don't see anything. With prices continuing to bounce off the EMA and bounce higher, even though I don't like longs, I don't like shorts either because for some reason price keeps moving up. So you'd be afraid that for some reason, it gets very bullish and you just get trapped in here and it keeps going higher. But you see that the range is very tight, that green range. And then what happens is once I got this down here and we bounced back up to the top, then I kind of extended the range and thought, well, maybe we have a wider range now, and maybe this is just like a midline area for the range. Um, and then I talked about this higher low. I said this higher low, I don't like that for a retest of this because the overall context here is range. You're in this range. And so what you'd be concerned about is you're going off one side of the range and back up to the other. And so I'm not expecting to come back up to retest this as a trend. I'm expecting that my range, I'll come back down here to the bottom of my range. And I said, I don't like that as taking a trade off as a higher low to retest. But if we got two nice legs back down to this support level and got a good bar off it, then I might be interested in a long. You don't really get anything. It pushes up, it breaks out of these highs again, and then that's when the selling starts. I don't really care for that as a lower high to fade the range because you can't close below this level for some reason. If this had closed, more bearish and broke down and closed below there, I think that would be okay to take as a lower high fading down into the range. But I don't like how it closed like a doji right in this area here. So then we get basically a trend down to the bottom, and you get what looks like two legs of correction. But again, we're not trying to uh, trade this as a short to retest because we're back down here at the bottom. So what would we expect? We would expect, although we see that that doesn't happen, we would expect that prices go back up to the highs of the range, or at least we're concerned that that might trap us in this trade. It doesn't. The bottom just kind of starts falling out, and we can see that we retest the overnight highs of the yeah, that's it. Retest the overnight highs. This trend breaks, makes a new low. It starts to try to reverse, but it can't get through these previous lows. Remember, I talked about earlier how support can turn into resistance once prices push out through it. And that's exactly what happens. It pushes into this area. It was support, and now it turns into resistance and bounces off it. Pushes back up, never actually makes it back up here one more time. Um, but then the selling comes back in. And you wouldn't have, you see this trend line I have drawn, but you wouldn't have that. I would probably just be sitting here watching because you have all these trends breaking, making a new low. At this point, when we start doing this, I'm definitely thinking we're probably going lower, but I don't have any good structures to draw. um, Once we get this and we start coming back up again, this looks okay to look for a corrective short off of. And I was looking for two legs up here, but it just doesn't give us anything. Okay, it just goes down. I don't like just selling a red bar for just because we're in a downtrend. I would What I would maybe look for to get a short here is I would look for this to push down through and maybe come back up and create a lower high right here, but it just doesn't do that. You'll see it do that sometimes. It'll look like it's pushing back up and then it'll just come back down and close on its low. And that would be a good area to take a short as, you're definitely in a big downtrend here and, um, the momentum is down. But you don't really get anything. It kind of starts going sideways here and then we just kind of rally out of there. This trend breaks, makes a new high into this overnight zone, and then starts to sell off. And I'm not sure what's going on now. It looks like it's coming down. So who knows what could happen? You're into the overnight now or post market, so it doesn't really matter. So that's the gist of what happened today. But that's about it. Be rather short video for my standards, mostly because of the video disruptions today. So I will see you again tomorrow.